But in today's episode, we're going to be talking about how morale affects productivity.
The eyes may be able to see, but without a heart, you cannot feel.
What's up, everybody? This is Joyce Yossi Samuels, and you are watching episode 51 of The It Will Come Show. I hope you all have been enjoying the improved quality of these videos. Remember, feel free to leave comments, feedback on how you are perceiving these things or how you're feeling about them. The next month, we may actually try a new location just to see how things are going. So this was actually inspired when I was watching an episode of Vikings. If you haven't checked out the History Channel backed series called Vikings, you can see a picture here. Suggest you check it out because it's pretty cool, pretty entertaining, and it's also very historically accurate. But there was a scene where I believe the Vikings were trying to invade Paris. And there was a princess who came at the right time when the French were pretty much overthrown by the Vikings and looked like they were about to lose. And she came out with this banner. And she just stood at the top of the walls of the castle and shouted out to the troops to help improve their morale. And by doing so, she actually turned the tide of the battle, and the Vikings ended up losing that one. How this relates, though, to everyday productivity is, sometimes if you're working in a company, you might notice that when people have low morale, not as much work gets done because most of the time people are actually talking more about how low their morale is or how they're feeling bad or down, and they're not actually getting any work done. And this might stem from poor leadership, toxic culture, various things. But there was a quote from Brad Bird of Disney Pixar that I read not too long after watching that episode of Vikings. In finance, or when budgeting for films, Brad Bird found that for every dollar spent, well, usually the things that are put down in budgets, or the things that aren't in budgets are usually the things that affect budgets. So, for example, for every dollar that is spent, if you have high morale, you'll get $3 of value in return, right? If there's high morale and, people are inspired or motivated. However, in a culture where there's low morale, for every dollar spent, you get about 25 to 30 cents worth of value, right? So if you're ever wondering how morale affects productivity to numbers, straight numbers of money, that's exactly how it affects it. So if you are in a company or a culture where there's really low morale and you're a leader, then you should be very concerned about what it is you are doing, because usually 80% of the culture of any company comes from the founders. And so that is something that you should definitely think about. And if you have had any experiences similar to this, then comment below. Tell your stories, and we might just feature it in a future episode. All right? So with that, remember, it will come.
The eyes may be able to see, but without a heart, you cannot feel.